And I don't know where he is on all of that stuff, but like, I know he's a big fan of Trump, but like, this is everything Alex Jones always talked about: military in the street, the FEMA camp, the tech company that monitors everything, the surveillance. This is all of that.
What's going on, you guys? We have Kyle Kulinski slamming Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon is purporting Trump's lies. Kyle Kulinski is setting the record straight. Let's get into it.
Tim Dillon a hard time, and I've been giving Tim Dillon a hard time for the simple reason that I think he's smart, and I think he's smarter than what he did during the election, where he had on J.D. Vance and gave him a hot stone massage, and his buddy Rogan had on Trump and then fucking endorsed him and gave one of the most pathetic interviews I've ever seen. And, he got kind of carried away in that world of like, oh, the Republicans are actually anti-establishment. And I know that he knows better. He just does. He's a smart guy. He's a funny guy. And that was super infuriating, not just to me, but there's a lot of people who agree completely with me that this guy had talent and he just sort of flushed it all down the toilet by becoming a little Republican simp. And so... but he's been slowly but surely inching back. You could say, the negative reading of it is he's pulling a Rogan, right? Rogan got caught being too aggressively on the Trump train, and now Rogan is trying to tiptoe back out of the room and say, no, I was never even really that much pro-Trump, bro. I'm like an enlightened centrist or whatever, bro. Like both sides. That's what Rogan is doing. And Tim Dillon definitely still has that both sides bullshit in him, which is bullshit, and everybody should know that. But he's either pulling a Rogan and doing the same sort of move, or perhaps he's willing to go a little further than Rogan and point out that we actually are living through hell now. Now, he stopped short of doing what I do and what you do, which is to say, because of Donald Trump, because of J.D. Vance, because of these Republican bitches, they are screwing the country 1,000 ways to Sunday. He doesn't say that part, but he does say, yeah, everything. This is the hell world that we were warned about, right? So this is a clip that's going kind of viral. Listen to what he says here. Then I'll have a lot to say about it. Here we go.
They've already got the cops on the street that are not cops, or that are the military. They've already got the National Guard on the street. They already have all your information in D.C., and now they just get to decide what is and isn't over the line. That should scare everybody. You're fucking nuts, dude. If this doesn't scare you, you're nuts. All of these things that Alex Jones, and I've had Alex on, I like Alex, but all these things that Alex Jones was like worried about when I listened to him in the late 90s, early 2000s are coming to fruition. And I don't know where he is on all of that stuff, but like, I know he's a big fan of Trump, but like, this is everything Alex Jones always talked about: military in the street, the FEMA camp, the tech company that monitors everything, the surveillance. This is all of that. I mean, not to sound like a fucking nut, this is everything a crackhead. And I don't even mean a crackhead like crack, but a guy smoking weed in a room with a fucking black light and a fucking, insane clown posse tattoo on his arm. I'm thinking of a very specific guy I was friends with. But this is everything that guy would have talked about. He'd be like, bro, there's going to be military in the street. They're going to put you in jail for your fucking thoughts, man. If you just say them, bro, you're going to be in fucking jail. There's going to be a fucking company that monitors everything you do, bro. Like, this is literally the wet dream of every conspiracy theorist that has ever lived, and it's happening now.
It's convenient that he's saying all of this now, weeks after, he's been bending over for a seafood platter at the White House while he's just reporting that Donald Trump has nothing to do with the Epstein case, while Tim Dillon has also had J.D. Vance on his show, Steve Bannon on his show, all of these different Republican figures to push their image to his audience. It's just super convenient that now he wants to say, all of this stuff is going to crap again.
Yeah. My only issue with what he's saying is he goes all the way back to, bro, Alex Jones was warning about this in like the late 90s and the early 2000s. And it's like, yeah, Tim, you know who else was warning about it? Every liberal and leftist during this last election, and you fucking hated them. And you shat on them, and you acted like they were the problem because they are too woke. He goes all the way back to the late 90s and early 2000s to say, man, Alex Jones predicted a lot of this. Well, now that it's here, he doesn't fucking see it. He doesn't fucking talk about it. He rides Trump's nuts on a daily basis. He runs cover for the person who's delivering all of that stuff to us. Meanwhile, you can go back. I've been saying this shit my entire time doing the show. I was saying it during the last election, that this guy is one of the most fucking authoritarian guys that you can think of. that we've ever seen, that this guy is the deep state. He is, the most corrupt president we've ever had. But this was all stuff that Alex Jones hid and didn't talk about. You think he didn't see the articles? You think he didn't know? He knew. He chose not to talk about it because he decided he was going to snuggle up to power. He decided he was going to hitch a ride on the Trump train. And, also you, Tim Dillon, you're a smart guy. You didn't talk about this stuff either. You didn't talk about how Trump took tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars from the Saudi Arabian government. That's corruption. That's rank. Who the fuck do you think he's going to represent when he's in office? You and me or some Saudi fucking rapist pedophile prince? What do you think? Who's he going to represent? Well, who's the one that gave him the hundreds of millions of dollars? What about Miriam Adelson, who gave Trump $100 million during the campaign and said the quid pro quo is you need to let Israel annex the West Bank? And then, would you look at that? We just got word this week, Israel's annexing the West Bank. And it's almost like I warned you about that. Every liberal podcaster warned you about that. Every leftist podcaster warned you about that. And what was the right wing do? Oh, the woke people are the problem, and they got purple hair, bro, and they joke police, bro, and can you believe that, bro? And oh my God, they're so censorious. And they created a place called Chaz in Seattle or Portland or some shit. They want to defund the police, bro. They want to defund them. While you guys were talking about some dumb bullshit, you swatted aside all of the real points that all of us were making. You swatted aside the fact that Trump made $160 million from foreign countries when he was president in his first term. You didn't care about that. You didn't talk about that. Alex Jones didn't talk about that. You didn't talk about the fact he made $3.4 million in total in the White House, and a lot of that is tied to his fucking giant crypto scam. Did you guys talk about the fucking crypto scam that this president ran on his own fucking supporters?
Again, something anyone who's been watching Tim Dillon knows that Tim Dillon has even been saying all of this. Tim Dillon has been saying this for however long, but he is still going to outright sell himself over to the White House. He is going to become a state-funded comedian at this point, a state-funded entertainer to just tell us whatever, Donald Trump's press secretary wants him to say. That's exactly, I believe he even infers to that on his own podcast.
As you guys wrote him on a daily basis? No, you didn't. You didn't do that. And so forgive me for, being a little angry, but I'm fucking angry. I'm angry about this. That now it's like, oh, okay, so everything that Alex Jones was warning about in the 1990s and 2000s is coming to fruition. And it's like, yeah, and now he's on the wrong side of it. And also he was warned this past election cycle, this bad stuff is going to happen. And they all just shoved their head in the sand, right? They all just shoved their head in the sand. We're talking about a guy who sued a pollster because he didn't like a poll. He sued them. You know what any other normal person would do in a scenario like that? Oh, that poll looks a little off. What do you guys want for lunch? You want a sandwich? Let's get a sandwich. That's what a normal person would do. What does Trump do? Sue him. Sue him. Trump sued CBS for how they edited a Kamala interview. Meanwhile, Fox News was editing up Trump interviews where Trump was saying, I'm not sure I would release would I release the Epstein files? Sure, I'd release it. But maybe that one not so much because there's a lot of phony stuff in that world and you don't want to get innocent people caught up in that. They edited that for Trump to just say, yeah, I'd release it, and then they moved on. Totally changing the nature of the answer, making him look better. Did Kamala sue Fox News over that and say this is misleading and this is election interference? She didn't. But Trump's...
There we have it, you guys. We have Kyle Kulinski slamming Tim Dillon for just wanting to play blind at this point. My take, I've been sort of saying it in between the vids, in between, these parts. I believe that, whenever it gets to the point to where we used to have news stations back in the day that would tell everyone what to sort of believe in. They would have people that, watch Fox News. They still have an older generation that's watching Fox News. Now, you can see it, the powers that be, they sort of notice in Gen Z, millennials, even at this point, they don't really watch too much television, but they are watching a lot more YouTube. They're watching a lot more podcasts. The media has changed. The media hasn't changed, but the medium has changed as far as what they're consuming. So you can see that a lot of these different people, such as Joe Rogan, such as Tim Dillon, all of these different comedians that maybe even at one point were saying something that they really believed in, now it's been completely, just turned into one of these things to where you might as well be listening to like Rush Limbaugh. You might as well be listening to, one of these commentators on the radio. Even at this point, they're going to be telling you the exact same thing, and it might even be better so that you can hear it, in its entirety, in its raw, unfiltered form. You don't have to hear it from someone that you like and have trusted and, have sort of like grown to really like, I guess, over the past few years. So, I mean, I think that it's natural that that's going to happen. I think it's natural that, money is going to make people just say whatever it is that they want to say, because they treat this as entertainment in the first place. But yeah, I mean, as far as what to believe, do your own research. Always find out what you actually want to, what do you want to bring into this world? How do you want to actually make a difference? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's another day in the progressive way.